Welcome back YouTube, KRoad17 here with a brand new F1 2019 career mode video after a great Austria Grand Prix. I beg you go watch that. You can see our drag and our weight were actually upgraded, but our engine has failed. So, yep, alpha being alpha. But never mind that, on to Quali.
It's time once again then for qualifying here at Silverstone on what we're hoping will be a tight contest for pole position. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong, and that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
So we jump on board with Q1. I was actually not, I guess you'd say, expecting much from the British Grand Prix. I'm not the best at this track. It is one of my weaker tracks, I would say. But here we go, getting ready to finish our first lap in Q1. Can we have a say at the top 15 and make our way into Q2? We're gonna cross the start-finish line, and we go P2, and at the end of the result we're P14. So again, I'm starting to question the difficulty of the AI, as maybe the car or myself have improved, but we will look into that. On board here with Q2. Let's see if we can have a say, maybe a Q3. You never know with how much good we did in the last qualifying session. But here we are, setting our one and only lap on a set of softs. We are going to start the cross finish line, and we go fourth. All right, so we're into Q3 for the next set of qualifying. I think this is probably the third or fourth time we made it to Q3, but never, don't quote me on that. But here we are, setting our final lap in Q3. Can we have a say at the top 5 possibly? You never know. Our pace seems to be on point, but we are now on the back stretch. DRS is open. Leclerc is ultimately the quickest person right now. Can any other driver have something to say about that? Can we say something about that? You never know. Something is up with maybe the game or the difficulty, but here we are, gearing up to set our quick time in Q3. The last few tight corners around this little long right hand bend, and we're going to start the cross finish line. Where do we place in this GP?
Excellent lap, we're really pleased.
We get fourth, so not a bad set of qualifying again for us.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Leclerc, Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Alright, let's jump into this British Grand Prix.
The pain of parting is nothing to the joy of meeting again. And how joyous indeed it is to be back at Silverstone once more for the British Grand Prix. The queues to get in this morning extended miles back down the A43, such as the enthusiasm for Formula One in this country. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Lando Norris. As with all the drivers at this level, they have a lot of ambition, but Formula One's a daunting step up from any other series, so expectations are high right from the start.
And this is something that has ended the career of many a young driver, as that leap up to Formula One proves to be too much. But luckily in this case, I'd say they're doing a good solid job, and the risk the team took in signing them is definitely starting to pay off.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Rose, Valtteri Bottas, and Gasly, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Magnussen, and Nico Hülkenberg, Perez, Grosjean, Lando Norris, and Raikkonen, Sainz, Stroll, Alexander Albon, and Devon Butler. Russell and Lucas Faber completes the grid, and with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, you've qualified higher than we expected, so let's try to build on this position throughout the race.
It's all about the history, Jeff. If you guys remember, the first ever Silverstone race was held here in 1950, I believe it was, or 50 years ago, and the top 3 cars that finished that race were Alfa Romeos, so let's keep that momentum going. Waiting for the 5 red lights to count down. We have 5 red lights now, and we are... Go, go, go for the British Grand Prix. Vettel in front of us, Leclerc right there, Hamilton right there. Can we get a good start? It seems like we're going to have the inside for this. Oh, we go a little wide. We bump everybody out of our way, so we maintain 4th. We do get a warning for colliding with Bottas. Maybe a little bit of a cheeky move from the last race we had with him in Austria, if he had forgotten, so we decided to remind him of that. But here we are following Hamilton, following the 2 Ferraris. My question here, will these 2 Ferraris make it to the end of the race? They've been having some severe problems with DNFs early in the season already. I think they are already up to 6 alone in that team. 6 or 7, I'll have to look into that. But here we are following the top 3. This is one of the tracks where I wish the powertrain was upgraded, but unfortunately it failed right before we came in here. So I had to slap brand new components on for this race just to have the top speed. Along this long, fast right-hander, we go a bit wide, but I guess we get away with it. They don't offer us a track exceeding, like warning, I guess you would say. But here we are following through Maggots and Beckett's, coming through, following Hamilton. Will we have anything to say before this lap is over? Hamilton and the Ferraris look like they have the outright speed against us in the straights, but we're going to try to maintain through the corners as best as we can, coming up to the last left and right-hander before we cross the finish line to put lap 1 done and dusted in this British Grand Prix.
Alright, let's focus now for the rest of the race.
Copy that, Jeff. We are actually going to push on to lap 3 here.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
Lap 3 of the British Grand Prix, we're following Hamilton, Leclerc, and Vettel. Coming up on, somebody has blown their engine. It's Leclerc. He is out again with the blown engine, guys.
Caution, caution. The virtual safety car is out. Reduce speed and maintain a positive delta.
So as I was saying, a Ferrari has a great point at DNFing every race, and yet again, here we go. Leclerc, blows his engine in the British Grand Prix. I think they're up to 7 or 8 DNFs now this season alone, just in that team. So this team is having a terrible campaign to 2019. Leclerc out of this race.
VSC ending, we're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
So with Leclerc out of the race, that puts us up to P3. So I'm not complaining about that too much. But we're back to green flag. Let's see if we can maintain our speed and catch up to Hamilton and Vettel and have a say, maybe at the top 2, maybe pick up a victory. We never know. We're gonna try, but these guys seem to be very speedy in the fast straights. A little slow around the corners. That's where I usually seem to pick up my momentum against these guys, but we keep pushing and see if we can get anything more than P3 out of this race. My best bet is to stick with these guys and try to catch the toe as much as I can.
Okay, battery's looking good. You can use overtake to get past.
We will do so if we are close enough. We're going to keep it medium for now to keep it charged.
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
So the car is losing pace behind us, but we go back on 4th with Hamilton actually getting ahead of Vettel, and we're actually pulling up to Vettel very quickly here. I wonder if Vettel might be having troubles with his engine now that Leclerc's gone. Still troubling woes with Ferrari in this season. But we're going to grab DRS off of Vettel. Let's see if we can pull up next to him and make a move on the inside or outside. We're thinking about either whether we want to go to outside, move to the inside. No, we think better of it. Just back off. Maybe better position later on in the race that we can make just to get around them. But we're going to hang tough here and try to get around them. But it is good to see that we can keep pace with these guys. This is a good call for the end of the race. Maybe we can get ourselves onto a podium at the British Grand Prix. You never know.
Window open. Let's box this lap.
So Jeff calls us into the pits at the end of this lap. We're going to box and grab a set of the hards.
Box, box, box.
Right behind Vettel. Can we make a move before we pull into the pits? I think we're just a little bit too far back, so we think a little better of it. That's going to be job over with. We're going to pull it into the pits for our first pit stop of this Grand Prix. Back to racing, lap 10. We are currently in P19. I think we pitted way before anybody else did. The only person behind us is Leclerc, but he is DNF in this race. He's out. So we are actually stone last. Can we have any say to get through these guys as quick as possible? I believe a lot of them are going to be running on worn tires, so we should be able to carry a lot more speed. But unfortunately, as you can see at the top right, we're going red in each sector. Maybe it's a case of the tires not warming up. As you see, we go purple in Sector 2.
The gap to the car ahead is 4.3 seconds.
A couple of the other drivers making their pit stops, so we're gaining positions back. As you can see on the mini-map down to the bottom left, a train of cars is ahead of us. This might be our opportunity to make through some of these positions that we've lost in our pit stop. We do have, I believe that is Albon ahead of us and his teammate Butler, who doesn't like to say too much about us or give us space on the track, that is. But we're gonna catch up to them, I think, pretty quickly, and we're gonna see how that pans out. But at this point, I was thinking, what do I have to do to maintain the tires and get through this field?
The car behind has boxed for the mediums. Car behind on the medium tire.
So just a little bit behind Albon here. As you can see, we're trying to pull the gap down, and it is currently lap 11 of 26. But we see we pull so much back through that corner, and through Maggots and Beckett's you'll see that we gained so much time. Maybe this is their tires going off, maybe it's just the way our car is set up, but we already pull so close with them. We actually get DRS off this, and we're going to try to make a move on Albon. Are we too far back? This might be a little bit of a dangerous move. Butler makes a move on Russell here. They go side by side while battling. Albon, look for the outside. Albon cuts it off. Teammate is in the pits. Butler dives to the pits.
Give me in the pits.
Albon right ahead of us. Russell is right ahead of us. We have to get around these guys if we want to, make sure we don't lose so much time being stuck in the back. That might have been one of the downfalls of our pit stop, as we actually got stuck behind all these back marker cars. I can't believe I'm saying back marker, as we're in an alpha, but as you see, a couple of guys pitted, so we did, pip them. Bow ties is one of them. Albon seriously locks up the tires right ahead of us, so we're going to make sure we get around him as quick as possible. I believe he is on the softs as well. I can't see the compound too well. Albon does get DRS on Russell. We get DRS on Albon. Albon's looking for a move a little bit too far back, so he thinks better of it. We look for the outside, sort of inside here, and hang it to the outside. We can definitely tell that Albon's tires are starting to give up on him. So we have to make this move so Bottas and Gasly, who are now behind us, don't make a move around us. We can maintain our position in this race. A little easy on this. Albon really slow through there. We have to double check ourselves. Coming through Maggots and Beckett's, I think we have to lift again. Carrying the speed, I have to get around Albon and Russell. So we're going to look to make a move on this DRS section. Albon goes really slow.
If you think you can get past, increase ERS deployment to overtake mode.
We're going to stick it in high though. Albon and I are right by each other, side by side, looking at Russell. Go really deep onto that corner. But I make it stick because our tires are brand new. Russell dives for the pits, so that's going to give us a clear track. We catch the grass a little bit and throws our car a little out of whack, but Albon stays right behind us and decides, or I believe that's Gasly actually. I thought at first that might have been Albon, but I think it's Gasly who caught up to us through that traffic. So we're going to push on here, on to lap 20. Hamilton, we've gone past everybody in the pits. We've worked our way back up to third. Hamilton, who's currently set the quickest time of this Grand Prix, is right in front of us. So he's right in front of us, going a little slow out of that. DRS is open for us. We chuck it into overtake and rich fuel mode on the outside of Hamilton. We give him a little bit of a cheeky squeeze, and we hang it around the outside just to make sure we give him room.
Nice work, that brings you up a place.
Jeff monitoring my position gains and losses here very well. So thanks for that one, Jeff. You are very useful. But we got in front of Hamilton. So Vettel, the only remaining Ferrari, right in front of us.
We're leading our teammate by 39.8 seconds.
It's not the best thing you want to hear, but we're going to jump here. Last lap of the Grand Prix. Vettel is still in the lead. So it looks like the Ferrari is going to come home and take the win here. And Bottas actually got around Hamilton, so he's third. We go crazy and lock it up and almost dump the car on the last lap, the last few corners, but somehow we keep a hold of it and cross the line to finish P2.
Brilliant job, mate. That's a fantastic podium. Super driving, really strong pace. Very, very happy.
Ferrari have really pulled it out of the bag today. It's a great win. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I think it's got to be Lucas Weber. Time and time again, he proves that he's someone who can quietly get the job done, and that's exactly what he's done today.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So finishing the race, P2, not a bad shot at all. We are still 7th in the Drivers' Championship with 58 points, right behind Pierre Gasly. And if we move on to the Constructors, you'll see that Alfa Romeo move up to 4th in the Constructors. That is a great look. Maybe improving the car a little bit quicker than a couple other teams. You never know, but we're going to move on to the post-race interview in just a second.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. How do things stand between you and Lucas now you've come out on top of your competition?
Well, Claire, I think we've enjoyed it almost as much as the fans have.
That was a good race for Lucas. Are you pleased to see him doing well?
I mean, yeah. It's nice to see him and his team working so well together, so it's great for us to have a battle.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
And to gain more showmanship, I said I couldn't do this without a great team behind me, which is true.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
What collisions, Claire? I don't remember any. So, no comment.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So guys, this is it for the episode. If you enjoyed this, thank you. Hit that subscribe button, the like button. It helps me so much to grow this channel. But until the next episode, I will see you soon and leave you off with the highlights of the race.